All right, so Black Veil Brides with their new album, Vale. Vale Brides, Vale. Spelled differently, spelled V-A-L-E this time.
Yes.
It's their 5th album.
Yeah.
Came out January 12th, 2018. And just to put the whole thing in perspective for you real quick, because this is something that you didn't know that I knew, is that this album was produced partially by John Feldman, who's known for producing Good Charlotte and Panic at the Disco and the Plain White Tees and Hilary Duff.
It all makes sense now.
Yes. So that should put a little perspective on the album as a whole for you.
Yeah.
Black Veil Brides, everyone knows, they're sort of glammy, sort of core-y, sort of heavy metal-y, kind of teeny bopper-ish.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've ever listened to them. So let's get right to it. It technically starts with an intro track of like 21 seconds. That's Incipiens ad Finum, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just him saying, "Here comes the
Latinish.
Black Army," or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Welcome
it's
to the Black Parade.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Sorry.
It's just and then we get to the first song, the last ones.
The last one. Did you want this to be your last Black Veil Brides song?
No. I mean, granted, there are much worse songs on this album and much better songs on this album, but this is certainly not the last one.
This song I thought sounded really promising from the beginning.
That's something I would say is actually going to say throughout this album. In fact, I'm going to read you a line I wrote about a later song, which is, opens, unfortunately promisingly.
Yeah, I agree that's true about this song as well. Like, it starts off, it does like it starts out with soft piano and then this slow, like, driving, just a kick drum. And then it goes guitars with the same melodies as the piano, and so it's got like a nice building intro. And then I'm like, okay, what's this building up to? And then it brings in this like Black Album-esque like
Metallica riff. It's got that solid chewy tone, and it's got
That's one thing I have to say about this whole album is that it's got great tone, great
tones are
guitar tone,
very good. Even though some of them are a bit rocky at times, and some are definitely like heavier and fuzzier later. But
yeah. But honestly, I really like all the guitar tones.
Yeah, overall, it's very good, and all the solos are staying up by themselves. But this song, I gotta say, this song is when we noticed it the first time because it's the first song and it's the first Black Veil Brides album that I've listened to.
The vocals
awful. Are layered so intensely heavily. Like, this guy clearly has a nice, deep sort of voice that's very pleasant to listen to, and I'm sure he could do audiobooks so well. But they layer it so intensely much, and all the songs have like that sort of almost dream chorus. It's layered a bunch,
layers. And then it's auto-tuned to crap, and it just sounds bad.
I would say reasons. It is a bit of a mixing issue, but the fact is does his voice still work for that sort of teeny bopper genre?
I guess,
it does, absolutely.
It just, to me, it sounds like it's straining a little on the upper edge of
his upper range is definitely his weak point. I would say,
and which is why I think I'm going to mention a lot is that the choruses of these songs are weak, and I think that partially comes from the fact that his higher range is a little weaker than his lower range, so the verses he tends to sing lower, and the choruses he tends to sing higher. And
they all sound exactly the same.
And so that makes the verses always sound better.
Yes. So this song, when I first saw this album listed, it said just glam metal and heavy metal. And now when I looked at it again on like various listings, it also says metalcore. And this one has these sort of short, heroic sounding breakdowny sections, and it only plays it like twice. It's like at the beginning and end of the bridge, basically. And they're very, like I said, they sound triumphant and big, and these guys wrote an rock opera previous to this and everything.
See that. Yeah.
And so they got these big triumphant sounds, especially the opera part of it.
They really get an epicness to, like, a lot of these songs have, like, epic moments. Like, this one, the bridge of this song had a really good build to it. And then it had this, like, shreddy solo. Yeah,
speaking of epic, I was going to say the solo starts off real slow with this sort of like this really slow sort of thing that pulls out into this sort of pentatonic-y sort of like shreddy business, and then it ends with this.
Yeah. I just wrote it was passable shredding.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel especially emotional to me.
Yes.
It's just passable shredding.
I was going to say that. I wasn't sure if that was just me. All the shredding on this is extremely not unmelodic, it's just unfeeling. It doesn't like, there's no like sweet moment of where you're like feeling the bends or the shreds. Like, I get it. It's just sort of like, I'm playing notes fast.
Yeah. It's more like where you can sit there and go, that's a nice solo. Rather than I can feel that solo in my soul.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make you wake up.
Wake up. Didn't make you want to go back to sleep?
I wasn't asleep listening to the last song, but This song is the shortest song on the album. 2 minutes, 42 seconds. It's nice and short compared to the later, much longer song on the album. And this song, it has millennial woes in it, and it's the first to do so. It
kicks it off with millennial woes. The first, and I think the previous song might have been the only one to not have millennial woes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wrote it like a lot. They love sort of whoa. And I'm just gonna get something out of the way. I know they're partially like a glam band, so all of their stuff is kind of balladic, you know. But the fact is, not every song you write can have a chorus that's a ballad, especially if it doesn't match the verse. And in this case, it was fine because it did. But later it'll be more of a problem.
Yeah, I personally didn't have a lot to say about this song. It just starts with millennial woes, and it has the same issue as the first song, where the verse is a lot more engaging than the chorus.
I will say, I mean, the verse was very much sort of the Lars beat, and then along with it was really this is.
But
a
the
really
vocals, I mean, were a lot more interesting than in the chorus.
I will say, when you listen to this song, make sure you listen to Smash Mouth's Beach Party before, and you can totally hear the hey, I heard somebody say work harder than you play during the chorus of this, and that Black Veil should be ashamed of themselves is all I gotta say. I should be ashamed of myself for knowing the chorus of Beach Party.
It's true.
But I will say the one really great thing about this song that I thought was absolutely
the solo.
The solo.
With
it
the
starts,
tapping.
Yeah, it's just like it starts like for some reason like it rips off Eruption. I know all tapping rips off Eruption because that was it. But it literally goes it's just some straightforward tapping that's 80s and it's wonderful, and I actually really enjoyed it.
No, it was a really nice solo. It was refreshing in a boring song.
Yeah, I would say that this solo is probably one of the best solos on the album.
And this is an album with a lot of good solos.
Yeah, like I said, this one has the feel, whereas the last one definitely didn't have the feel on it.
Yeah, this one at least seems like the guitarist is having fun with himself rather than going like, okay, I'm shredding now.
Yeah, it feels less like, like formula, and this is more just fun. And I will say, that was followed by one of my biggest problems with this song, and it does this multiple times because that's more modern, poppy kind of music. It is the sort of, all instruments drop out, radio filter, and when you wake up,
it does. And
then it doesn't drop into anything. It doesn't like get heavier, or it just goes back to the chorus, which is a ballad, because all of them are ballads. And it's just like, oh, I thought we were gonna
pump it up,
deliver on that.
That's the problem on this whole album, I think, is that it builds up and then the choruses all fall flat.
Yeah, it really doesn't call my name, really, I wouldn't say.
I'm gonna get out if it's the last.
When they call my name, did it call out for you?
No. So this is the first, I would call it, official ballad. This is the first ballad on the album. It's very much sort of slow. The intro,
and it starts out with
harp.
EP.
It sounds more like a harp. It's got sort of feel. This harp that just goes away. Like, there's harp and piano. There's two of them. Mm-hmm. And then the harp just goes away, and it never comes back.
E-piano, which bothers me, because I'm like, you had, like, an actual piano on the first song.
Yeah.
Couldn't you bring that back?
Yes. Well, that's interesting. There's a whole lot of E-orchestra on this album, but we'll get to that.
And I suspect that's probably a thing they usually do.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you haven't, like, I wonder if they use an actual orchestra. I didn't see one in the notes. But someone tell us, do you know if they use, like, an actual orchestra or a pit or, like, lots of people or, I don't know. I'd love to know, actually. I'd love to see the production behind this if they did. Mm-hmm. So this song has that sort of sweet harp intro that, like, vanishes. Its chorus is full of millennial woes. Whoa. It's definitely super layered in his vocal chorus.
That's the problem, is that, like, in all of these choruses, he sounds like a choir.
I would say especially this one has that dream chorus quality of where everywhere is filled up with a voice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really feel like he's just singing. The solo had some sweet muting and pinches, but once again, it was like a robot was playing. Mm-hmm. It just... Because, you feel it. It's like, oh, here's the slow bit. And then, oh, here's the fast bit. It's just like, you feel the formula behind it.
Well, and that's a problem with a lot of these songs in general, is that they've, like, so what I was going to mention this one is that it, like, for the, like, second to last chorus or whatever, it goes just no instruments, just the, like, drum, like, kick snare. Yeah, and with the I call it the stomp clap drum.
Yeah.
And it's like with just a like choir of like oftentimes it sounds like children singing along, with you. And it's like, do that right before the last chorus. And it's like, it does that in like 3 or 4 songs on here.
Yeah, I even wrote, like, but that the last chorus when everyone comes back in, it does get this sort of, like, where the guitar is doing the melodic death metal thing, where the guitar is also doing what the singer is doing, but at a different octave. And it gets this...
That part wasn't loud enough, though.
I will say, like I said, it was a great, like, sort of harmonic quality. It felt thicker and deeper and richer, but it was so quiet compared to how... And that's the problem with this whole album, is that the vocals are mixed so forward that it's like he is singing in your ear. He's like right up on the mic, and the mic
except
is
for
in your
there's
brain.
10 of him singing in your ear because it's so layered.
Yeah. So I would say, like, When They Call My Name, it's just, there's not a lot to say about it. Like, really. It's definitely, I would call it more of an outsider when it comes to this album.
The Outsider. Did it make you feel like an outsider?
No, I felt very included in this song. So this was the single from the album.
Good choice.
And I definitely 100% agree with that. This is undoubtedly one of the better songs from the album.
Yeah. Yes, it, like, when we first were listening to it,
We've been lulled into a dull...
Yeah, like, with the first 3 songs, we were just kind of like, okay, this is an alright, I guess. And then this intro lead started, and we go, wait, hold on a second.
Sweet guitars, and there's some harmony, and they're both working. It's just really nice.
This intro lead is great, and then it kind of stops, goes full stop, and then jumps into the...
This sort of...
like this,
it's the first riff of the album. I would say it's the first real riff of the album. It's one of those that it sticks in your brain, and you're like, oh, that's like, there's going to be like some feeling to that. That's the riff people are going to remember. And it's awesome. It's super.
And it's got a very like walking melody. Yeah. It's got some power behind it.
The tone of this song is much more crunchy. They're definitely doing a lot more like traditional metal muting and just getting a lot more of that sort of like mid bass. Terrible bass, no mid sort of sound. And I really enjoyed it.
The like intro and like riff of this song kind of definitely reminds me of Avenged Sevenfold. Like,
well, I mean that they feel like a sort of discount Avenged Sevenfold all around. I would say, but that's just me. But no, I would say that there's part of the riff where both guitars, they play a harmony of that, and that when it's so super loud and crunchy all before the verse starts, all that is then muted and put under the verse, but it's still there, really, and it's so good. It's
that's a really good way to take an attention grabbing riff, and then you like keep that attention grabbing riff, but make it so that it doesn't take up the vocal space during the verse.
Yeah, because it definitely
using that muting technique.
It cuts the treble a lot of it so that his voice gets to sort of over the top of it. Yeah, and it's just
and because like the guitars like he got to use his lower voice during the verse of the song, which made it sound really good.
Yeah.
And with that riff underneath, it's like, the verse of the song, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it just feels like everyone came together for this. Now, I guess I didn't even mention the chorus because it's
just blah.
It's a ballad chorus because they all are, and it's just I'm so unenthused about that after like the 4th song where it slows down and you lose all the energy and all the heavy guitars goes away.
All like with the cool riff and like the cool lead, it like felt like it was building up to some like powerful like kind of like.
I mean, there's power in the ballads, but there's
it wasn't like this wasn't a fast song, but it felt like
it was going to get some sort of like like some heavy Ace of Spades business going on.
It felt like it could use some more heaviness. Yes. The chorus was too like.
But once again, I think that's a matter of us not being the intended audience for this album, to a degree.
It's true, I'm no longer a teenage girl.
But I will say, the bridge had these sort of sweet, crunchy gallops in it, and these awesome scaly leads that were going on. I mean, granted, it was followed by a slower, like, less interesting sort of lead.
Oh, and I like how the bridge ended with, like, a growl.
Yeah.
Like a sort of, like, business that built up to the last chorus, and I'm like, that was cool.
Yeah, and the final chorus has this really, like, sweet, like, shreddy lead biz going on underneath it, but it's so mixed so quietly you can't even hear it, and that frustrated me so severely.
But this song was good,
undoubtedly. Like everything about this song,
it had a lot of good parts.
It was very lively. It definitely was not a Dead Man Walking.
Dead Man Walking. Did it make you want to die?
Kind of. So at 8 minutes and 34 seconds, this is the longest song on the album, and it's easy, in my opinion, to say that it is much too long.
Well, yeah, especially, like, I'm just gonna put this out there right away. The last 2 minutes are totally unnecessary orchestral BS.
Well, I will say, this is Overture 2, and as someone who's not a fan, I don't know yet, but someone who is not who doesn't know Black Veil Brides.
Mm-hmm.
I assume this is a sequel to Overture 1, and maybe that's a theme that's being carried on from Overture 1. But the fact is, it doesn't fit with the rest of the song at all.
It fell out of place with this song and just dragged on for too long, so we'll get that out of the way right away.
To go back more towards the beginning, they use this technique where they use a really reverby, really delay-y sort of tones that gets this sort of echoey, almost electronic-y sort of sound where it goes...
Sounds like a pop song.
Yeah, where it gets this really echoey, bouncy sort of sound. And it's just that and the vocals over the intro, and it's really sort of electronic pop sounding. It doesn't sound at all like this is going to break into a metal song at any point.
Yeah, the instruments do come in at about 30 seconds in though, and then it starts feeling like it's building up to something.
Oh yeah, it does a huge build up. It goes
yeah. The drummer's favorite thing is to do these tom build-ups.
Yeah, the breakdown build-up. Yeah,
and then it cuts out to nothing.
It goes back to the it goes back to that, and I'm like, why did you build up to just go back to the softest part of the whole album?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense, and it was so no.
Yes, this song, at being 8 minutes of song, is basically 3 songs. There's the first part, the middle part, and the last part, being that 2-minute instrumental section, and each part just clunks into place so hard. Every single one of these just absolutely gear shifts with no clutch.
Hell, even the two halves of the chorus don't go well together.
That's the
between the first part and the dead man walking and the second part, those don't go together at all.
The chorus is just repeated, as also the chorus from an 8.5-minute song. The chorus is repeated: "Dead man walking, dead man walking, dead man walking," and then but there's another repetition later on that I can't remember what he says. But there's just so much repeating of the same phrase again and again and again. And for a song that's 8.5 minutes long, it's I can't deal with that much repetition for that long.
Yeah, definitely don't need to be writing a song that long.
Yes, so
for this subject.
So the first song in this song ends at about 2:50 and becomes a new song where he gets this sort of sassy he said, she said, and it's got this sort of walking thing. It's a little more energy. And I definitely like this middle section the most. Especially at about 4 minutes and 20 seconds ends.
Oh yeah.
4:20 Black Veil Brides it.
Builds up to this sweet solo, and the first and only time in this whole album I heard the drums using double kicks for once, and I'm did the drummer just forget he had that second kick pedal there?
It was, he just was ignoring it. It's for playing on stage with the other songs. I'm sure they've done double kicks in the past.
I guess, but anyway, the only time in this album you heard that happening, and then in the solo there was some sweeping
the solo has harmonic sweeps in it.
No, this section of the song there's a few measures of harmonized sweeping over double kicks, and it's if you take those few measures, it sounds like a completely different band.
Yeah, I absolutely would not call that at all. And that arpeggiating for a moment is so I know sweeping it gets boring, but compared to the when it's just placed right there in the whole album, I'm hey, it's a breath of fresh air. I love this. And it was just so interesting to see everyone crank up their skill for a minute. And I'm why isn't this happening all the time?
Because they can't hold it that long.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is too short. That section is way too short. Yeah. And then at about 6 minutes and 30 seconds, it goes full. And like I said, this is the part where I'd like to know if they use an actual orchestra or if it was an E-orchestra. Because that really interests me. Because it just... Every element of rock or metal that existed before then is just gone. And it's this sort of violins and pianos and everything. And it gets this march beat halfway through that, too, where it changes weird. Again. And it just feels very all over the place. And I just cannot get... It's not that it's hard to understand, but I can't wrap my mind around why they would want to build it this way. Maybe we'll have to go back and listen to Overture 1.
It might fit in more with
a sandwich of Overture 1 that starts off with a sort of... what it reminded me of is how on Scour, they had that completely out of nowhere, entirely orchestral instrumental piece.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was, except that was so much better than this. Anyway, the next song is Our Destiny.
Our Destiny. Was it your destiny to enjoy this song?
It feels like it, because the more I listen to it, the more this one actually grows on me.
Yeah, this one kind of feels like the teen anthem they were trying to write, and it's this is the best version of that.
Yeah, now, I will say, so this song is undeniably a ballad, I think we can say.
Well, it's an anthem.
Yes.
I'd say it's an anthem more than a ballad, because it's easy to sing along with, and it's got the millennial woes, and it's just
so triumphant. I like.
Yeah, da 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 da. Yeah, it's just like something you want to pump your fist to, and like, while I don't particularly enjoy it, maybe I'm like too cool for that or whatever. Like, it is something that some teenagers would like, I think.
Can you hear the people say da da da? It tickles that part of my brain that was tickled when I first began to discover power metal, and I was like, I love this triumphant sort of music. And then if I would love that if some kid listened to this, heard that triumphant sort of sound, and then someone showed them, like, you know, Halloween or Sabaton or something, and they were like, oh, this is what I wanted all along. I want Black Veil Bride just to be the stepping stone between teeny boppers and much better metal, in my opinion. But anyway, back to this song. So the pre-chorus is Millennial Woes. Let's get out of the way. They do it in almost every song. It's really frustrating. Move along. There are some chugs. There's a tiny bit of riffage under the verse here. It's just solid, sort of nothing
and
complicated.
And there's some synth strings, some like jin 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 jin.
No, it was jin jin, like it's a hip hop song almost. Jin 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 jin. It was really weird, and I was like, that's so strange.
It gave more to the like kind of poppy feel of it. It wasn't pop. It was just like
it's
teeny bopper
anthem.
rock
It's a teen anthem. Yeah, it's 100%. Like you can tell, this is the One Day More of their rock opera, you know? This is the, like, they're all standing there, it's our destiny, you know, or they're all standing on the wall at the end. This is like that rock opera triumphant moment, and that's why I really liked Our Destiny. I think it was
this song was pretty, it was good at what it was trying to do.
Well, it's interesting because the solo features quite a few different techniques that I like. Because, you know, it's because they're not super complicated in their solos. They do a lot of pentatonic-y stuff, some basic shred stuff. This had some, like, bends. It had a little bit of that sweepiness to it. It had some harmony in it. Harmony-ish. And it was a really functional solo that had a little more feel than the other ones, and the song had a lot more the triumphant feel to it, and it's just, despite the weird 4 on the floor synth, I really, really liked this song a lot more than the others. It definitely didn't make me feel any kind of pain, and I definitely wasn't the king of pain.
The king of pain. Did it put you in pain?
No.
A little bit.
So this song, even though there was other ones single, I think this song is like the radio hit because it's the one that's designed to speak directly to teen girls with money to spend on Black Veil Bride albums. Because it's literally the I love you, I'll keep you safe. Oh, is it? First of all, it's kind of creepy too. I want a queen to my king of pain, and I know it's the pain of life, pain of existence, yeah. And then I'll never leave your side. I will be your shadow in the night. And it's like, dude, that's some don't stand so close to me, like police era. It is a little sort strange. Of stuff.
But it's supposed to be like we'll love you so much forever, sort of, yay.
Well, I was saying,
aspiring to ladies.
They're inspired by these 80s bands, and if you look back at a lot of these 80s songs, like, you know, by the Police, for example, they are so creepy sounding, you know. This song is a little bit creepy, but moving back on from that, the intro to the song. I love the
intro of this. It sounds so...
It's reverby and clean, but, like, powerful.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it sounds like it could build up to something epic, like it's... You mentioned it reminded you of Sanitarium a little
Literally,
bit.
You can hear, like, you know... over the intro of this, and they fit together really well. But this is the song that I said, where that lead is unfortunately promising, because it immediately goes into da da da, never leave your side, I'll be loving you forever, everything is happy, shiny, easy. It's like, but you're gonna be so much more deep than that.
Yeah, like you could have taken that intro bit and turned it into, like, use that as the intro to your 8-minute song, you know?
Yeah, right? It's just this. Well, we'll mention this more later, but this album is made of so many great parts.
Yeah.
That could be great songs, and I don't know if it's a producer thing. One of the producers is a member of the band. Also, the two producers, Feldman, who, you know, produces like My Chemical Romance, not My Chemical Romance, Good Charlotte, and Panic at the Disco, and
same difference.
And so I don't know if that's like him, like coming into it, but so this song, besides the creepy lyrics, because that's all romance songs are. Romance songs are creepy lyrics, and the radio hitty nature of it, because it's also completely inoffensive besides its creepiness. It does have a sweet solo in it that starts off slow. It does the same thing that the solo in the last ones does, where it starts off really slow, and then it pulls up into the more energetic solo. And it's
that just seems to be his soloing style.
Yeah,
of just doing slow business and then some shreddy business.
And it's good. It's an excellent solo, but and the song has an outro solo too, and the outro solo is kind of lame.
I wouldn't even call it a solo. I'd call it more of a lead.
An outro lead, or it's just like it's just really overly simple. When he clearly, this whole album is overly simple when they clearly have the skill to do more. Yeah. And so, that's why King of Pain it wasn't that much, in my opinion.
It wasn't great, it wasn't awful.
I definitely, would not vow to listen to it again. It definitely wouldn't be my vow.
My vow, would you vow to listen to more music like that?
This song, best song on the album. Like, I can't even not say it. Best song on the album.
No, this, as soon as the riff hits, we both were we started headbanging. We're like, what? Why? Why is this happening?
Because the riff hits. That's the important thing. The riff doesn't happen. The song doesn't just start. The riff hits. It's so classic heavy metal. It's exactly... It's
and it's the only... Basically, the only song on this album you can headbang to.
Yes, I would mostly agree with that. It's fast, it's chugging, and that's just the intro. Then the riff after that is a different heavy metal fast chugging riff, and it's like, where have you been hiding all this? Clearly, this metal inspired, classic heavy metal.
And
inspired.
it's clearly you can write memorable, interesting riffs. Why aren't you doing this on every song?
And that's the thing is, I think this is partially a producer issue, and partially just because it's not this is the kind of song we want, and they're still going to put their feelers out towards that audience, but that's not who they're selling to. I don't think there are a lot of teenage girls, especially the Hot Topic brand teenage girls, who are like, bro, Motorhead.
I mean, hey, you didn't know me as a teenage girl.
That's true, but even so. This is old school, where it's just let's get that root note chugged and then follow it by a quick riff. And that's...
and then this intensity kind of keeps on through the verse and the pre-chorus. Yeah, the pre-chorus wasn't woes. I was so proud of them.
There's that call and response where, he
says, in the chorus,
Oh, sorry, yeah. But it's just so nice. The chorus has a sort of traditionally metal, later metal, more punky sort of stuff, where it's say something, group chant response, say something, group chant response.
Yeah, it was one of the least bland choruses.
Yes, which is the problem because the post-chorus is millennial woes. It ruins the whole thing.
Yeah, as soon as the woes started, we're like, no!
Because it literally just doesn't make sense for it to be there. Well, the reason it's there is because the producer said to them, don't you think this is getting a little hard for your audience? And they're like, yeah, let's have a moment of cool down. And they just put in millennial woes that I feel like have been copy-pasted from an earlier song. They sounded almost identical. No, I will say the thing is that millennial woes is completely forgotten because everything else in the song is so great. And then there's a sweet solo that starts low and slow and heavy and then just shreds to death. And it's so good and it's so well designed and it's so tightly encapsulated.
This has the best vocal mixing yet.
Yes.
The vocals actually blend in with the instruments rather than just sitting on top.
Yes, every part of this, except the millennial woes, is an excellent and well-functioning piece of music that fits together perfectly like gears, and this song just chugs like an engine, It's perfectly great.
Really good song.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't leave me feeling like I have a lonely heart.
Don't turn around, they're screaming.
Ballad of the Lonely Hearts. Did it make you lonely?
No, because I was listening to music with you. Oh. No, so every song on this album is a ballad. So they literally had to name this one, this is the ballad, because it's not even the most ballady ballad. The last song on the album is the most ballady ballad. This song is just a ballad that's really weird. Let's start at the beginning. It starts off with this piano intro, but then it quickly gets past that. And that piano intro appears later, as done by the guitars, and it's significantly cooler sounding, so you're like, why didn't you just start it with that? Start in with those guitars, because it's really cool.
Well, maybe they wanted to save it. To build.
This reminds me of that one song that sounds like a carnival or whatever from the White Avenged Sevenfold album, and I can never remember the name of it. It sounds like it's got it's got that sort of I called it Harlequin strings because I couldn't think of what else to call it because it's very weirdly lilting and bouncy. And he's da-na-na, ba-da-da-da-da, da-na-na. It's this really interesting sort of thing, and the drums are doing the Lars thing. But then at the same time that the riff is all going, there's these really weird sort of, I don't know if they're out of time or it's just the way that it sounds. There's these weird sort of strings that they're just like, they're very sort of circusy and harlequin, like I said.
And they're just kind of there. And I feel like they don't really fit very well.
When the ballad part starts, when the chorus, all the lonely hearts and the hearts that never change. It's just moved so far away from a bouncy harlequin stringy sort of area that it just seems unrelated. And that's what the two parts they should have juxtaposition, but they don't because it's just they disconnect so thoroughly.
Yeah, they definitely kind of feel like two separate songs. And what I was going to say is that the good thing about the song is that there's, it's got a little bit of epicness at least in the guitar solo. I found that it, built especially nicely, and, I don't know, just had that feeling of tension that is good.
Yeah, I said about 2 minutes in, there's this sort of, this sweet guitar business, but then it's mixed so quietly because it's mostly a ballad. It's mostly, this is the vocalist showing off the vocals and the audience is all singing. So all the guitar is doing really cool stuff, but it's mixed really kind of quietly. And that is just, I just really didn't have that much feeling about this song. It just, for me, it wasn't that great.
And then it kind of, by default, had that stomp clap business again.
Yeah, the problem is this is super formulaic for being so weird.
Yeah.
And it just...
Yeah, no, not only does it have the stomp clap business,
yes.
Then afterwards it has some woes, and it's like, I can do this whoa by myself. I don't need a song to do that.
Yeah, but it's for the live show. It's for the live show, which is weird because the title track and everything, Vale, is a much better ballad, but we'll get to that in a minute. For now, let's, I guess it is us who is throwing the first stone at Black Veil Brides.
Throw the first stone. Would you like to throw a stone at them after this song?
Yes, but because the first part is so good. This song is another one that's like, how are you this close to brilliance?
No, this riff is so great. It's got this bend. Yeah, you can groove to it. It's definally groovy. It's this song I would call kind of groovecore.
Yeah, it's really weird. So I said that it was got. I would call it a groovecore. It's kind of got that sort of southerny, stonery sort of to it. Mm-hmm. And I would say when Zakk Wylde stopped to play that one Kiss song on the EP, he was like, "Hey guys, this is what it sounds to have a little groove, to have a little soul." Mm-hmm. And then they took it and they were like, "I bet we could make a song out of this one riff he showed us before walking out the door." And it's awesome. It's so syrupy and heavy. It's heavy. And so it's legitimately heavy.
Yeah, this riff is great. And then during the verse, it that same riff doesn't stay there, but it's just these kind of chugs. Yeah, these perfectly functional chugs.
Yeah, I would say
functional chugs.
Functional chugging. This song is the most metalcore. Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that it had that sweet groovy intro, this song is the most metalcore of them all.
Yeah, in a good way, I think.
Yeah, this is very, very, very functional metalcore. This is in the same sort of thing as if you watch our Beartooth Aggressive review. A lot of what I would say about this song is what I would say about that album.
Yeah, so it's in the area of core that we like.
Yeah, clearly very skilled, very elegant, very, very, it has excellent timing. It's not just dun, 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 dun. And
because the problem with a lot of chords is just chugging all the time, and this got that riff in it with the bends.
Well, see, I'm so glad. And I was gonna say, this riff, it's not just in the intro; it also appears again after the choruses, and
which is good because it's that's they understand that that's the gem of this song.
That's the hook. That's really that's what people want to hear. That's the of this song. It's the catchy bit. And which is why it's so weird that at the end of the song they completely drop all this the skill and talent and
just
everything.
Do a breakdown.
Yeah, it's just jun 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 jun. It's did you get too talented and then you just died after writing after the groove riff? Were you guys so creatively spent? It's wringing out a sponge. The groove riff's oh wait, we don't have anything left. Dun dun. That's what happened?
It wasn't that bad of it. It was just a breakdown.
But
it was
it's an
just
outro.
An outro breakdown, which is kind of weird. Usually breakdowns come in the bridge section, but they had a guitar solo guitar solo instead of that. So I can understand not wanting to but you can have a breakdown and a solo in the bridge area. You can, nothing's stopping you.
Well, here's the thing, is you're supposed to put a breakdown where people can dance to it, hardcore dance, or at least, or bang their heads or whatever. Yeah. But the problem is, it's at the end, and it goes right into a very slow, very heartfelt ballad next.
Yeah, so I imagine when they play it live, they probably would do these chugs into another, aggressive
one of their older songs, I imagine. Yeah. And so that's why to me, that should have been an artifact of the live show. The show should have ended with the... It should have gone to the groove thing and then, grooved out.
Yeah.
But that's just what I think, I'm no longer going to cover this in a veil of criticism.
Vale, this is where it ends. Did you want it to end?
Not with this song, but yes. No. So, Vale is a ballad. It is the purest, most beautiful.
This is a well-constructed ballad.
This is the soul of the album. The heart and the soul, the actual feeling. This is, I feel, the art that Biersack and all of them originally intended to create. This is why they went into music, is how I feel Vale feels to me.
All right, that's a strong statement.
Well, it's because it feels genuine. And
I know, it does feel a little more genuine than a lot of their songs that are more formulaic. This one's kind of formulaic too. It's got 3 main sections that each step up in intensity.
Yes, absolutely.
But
the first part is just acoustic guitar and violin, with vocals, of course, and it's very intimate. Once again, he is always right up on that mic, and that mic is always... Yeah, but
this song, that actually makes sense.
Yes, and it's got that beautiful, soft, sad tone. Anyone who's listened to, Nickel Creek, it sounds like they're providing the backup to this a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very...
and the first minute and a half of this is really beautiful. It's just, acoustic guitar and strings, and it's, nice and intimate. And then the middle section I didn't connect with as much. Yeah,
because it adds a sort of muted, chuggy guitar, but that doesn't do anything for this. It doesn't... Because if it's just... because it's so muted and, quietly mixed, that you just lose it a little bit, and it's just providing a sort of,
Yeah, kind of just adding noise instead of adding anything useful. But then it's a necessary step to build up to, where it goes with the bridge and the last verse chorus.
Yes, because the drummer, hearing that they were recording a song without him, I guess, just kicked down the door and was like, "Hey, I'm drumming for the solo," and he just the drums just break in at the solo,
and this solo is pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what it needs to be. A combination of slow and heartfelt and skillful and elegant, and the drums and everybody stays hard through the outro of this, I would say. Not hard, they stay...
you skipped my favorite part, though, which is at the end of the solo, everyone kind of pauses for a second, and there's this...
I forgot completely. Yeah, the solo goes in this sort of weird, tappy straight... It goes full 80s. He uses all the techniques he knows. And then, it ends with a sort of almost Slayer-esque... Wow! And it's whoa! Whammy bar tricks, where has this been? The fact is, every time I hear parts of these solos that are so great, I'm where is this hiding?
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing this all the time? And so the song continues to rock out during the outro, and during the outro there are several examples of these sweet leads where he's getting to show off his skill and
I really like that during the last chorus and, during the last bit of singing and such, he'd sing a line and then there'd be a cool lead, and then sing another line and then there'd be another cool lead, and that was really cool. That was a really nice place to end the song, is because this song, it didn't do the build up and then fall down thing. It just went up in intensity.
It builds up to a sort of ending. Now, granted, I will say that I wouldn't have ended this album with this. I would have ended this album with My Vow or something. Really send them home with something hard to remind them to come back, Yeah. Whereas this kind of just goes look at how beautiful everything is. Please do come back.
I would have put this in the middle of the album, but I can see because of the title they wanted to put it at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, you could have started the album with this as a sort of gentle opener, but this feels kind of more relaxing, so I'd understand why it's at the end.
Yeah. And it's a good song.
Absolutely. I would not deny it. Speaking of good songs, let's talk about the album as a whole. So, we would say the really good things about the album is when he's in his low register, his voice sounds great. He's got that wonderful sort of rock, sexy, low voice. 2, tones are amazing. Whether it's lead tone
the guitar tone is great.
Some songs it's spectacular, like My Vow or Throw the First Stone. Those songs, when they're really getting down in that low metal place, they have an excellent sort of sound. my biggest problems with this is that every single chorus feels like
Sounds the same.
They all feel like they're written as a ballad, and they just sort of slotted them in everywhere. Like,
yeah, or they just wrote one chorus and then just changed a couple notes in each one to be like, that's different enough to be in this song, right? Yeah.
And so that was my problem with it, is because even, like I said, in my vow, when it had this hard, chugging, really goodness, they had to throw in the woes because we need to have this sort of balladic, soft element. And that was a problem, because you don't always need that. But I guess Black Veil Brides is doing that. Furthermore, clearly a skilled solosman. I think his name is Jinx, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's good. Definitely good solos in this album.
Not a lot of emotion on a lot of the solos, not a lot of feeling.
Yeah, but he clearly has good technique.
Yes, and that's why I see so much good in here. And this is what we said in the beginning.
The thing is, you learn good technique, and then once you've gotten so comfortable with that, then you can put your emotions on it.
Experiment with it, yeah.
So hopefully he goes there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is their 5th album, so who knows what could happen. I haven't heard their others. We haven't heard their others. So this may be a low point. This may be a high point. They may be developing. Maybe this is a great step in the right direction. Yeah. We don't know yet. But that being said, top 3. Do you mind if I go first?
Go first.
All right. Yeah. So my top 3. My third favorite was. Hold on. Let me figure it out. Now, my third favorite was The Outsider. It just had, that intro that we both loved, that had the harmonica guitar in it. It had that, like, that pentatonic-y sort of riff, and that became muted under the verse, and it felt great, and it had those gallops in the bridge, and it was the first example on the album where we really saw, like, oh, this is a band that does metal, in addition, Mm-hmm. And my second favorite, I labeled multiples number 1 because I couldn't remember which one was number 2. The second favorite was Our Destiny. See, this is where I knew we would differ, because Our Destiny was like I said, it tickled that sort of brain spot that reminded me of when I was like a child and listening to early Dragon Force and listening to early, Halloween and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, triumphant and powerful music feels good. Now all I need is like skillful guitar playing, which is why I went to more power metal-y stuff. So I really liked it, even though it had the weird sort of strings. And it had the Millennial Woes, It still had the riffage, and it had some sweet solo that I really enjoyed. But number 1, of course, for us is going to be the exact same. So tell me your bottom 2.
You mean
your third one? Which is
my third favorite was The Outsider.
Of course.
For basically, is just had a great riff.
Hold on, wait. Let me put this up to my head and psychically predict what will be your second favorite. Was it Throw the First Stone?
Yes, you are correct. How shocking was that? It just had that bendy riff was so
it was low down and thick and heavy.
I assume that was your fourth favorite. Right?
The thing is, I have equal love for Our Destiny and Throw the First Stone. It's just Our Destiny. That feels more Black Veil Brides than the rest of the songs that we like, I guess.
Then let's say in unison our first favorite.
1, 2, 3. My Vow. Yep, it was metal. It was heavy. It was hard. It was good. It was everything it needed to be and more.
Definitely.
It was definitely what's funny is that in an album of ballads, the fastest, heaviest song is the relaxing one.
Yeah.
So, it just was so enjoyable. It had old school riffs. It had old school sounds.
And you could headbang to it, importantly. If you're a, rock or metal band, you need to have songs you can headbang to.
Yes, and you could really tell, their inspirations from their past. You could really just feel everything about it. You could feel that solo. It was so full of energy and power and strength. It was great. And speaking of it being great, how would you rate this album?
Gosh, it's hard to say because I don't listen to a lot of music like this. I guess maybe there isn't a lot of music like this, but 5.
See, I rated it a 6 to 7 because I can tell that it is great for not me.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. This album was made for a different person who's not me.
But the thing is, clearly excellent production, in my opinion. There are a few elements where I thought the guitars were too quiet and the vocals were too prominent,
but the tone was good.
Everything sounded huge. Yeah. It's gonna sound. I bet they sound great live. It's just that's why I gave it a 6 to 7 because I just think that they're really clearly they're pretty darn.
That's
scalable.
The thing. I'm sure a lot of people will like this album.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not gonna leave it on my iPod.
Yeah, I was about to say. So you're gonna listen to more Black Veil Brides?
Probably not.
I might give that rock opera a try that they wrote, just because they clearly had the ability to write big, epic, powerful music.
Yeah, no, they clearly have some skills. Just not skills I'm interested in.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, is that you're interested in, and that's the important thing. Would you recommend this album to anyone else?
If I just wandered into a Hot Topic, I'd recommend it to people, I guess.
Yeah, I would say this specifically caters to a young, sort of darker, but not, like, heavy audience. Yeah. Like, this is for your goth friends, not your, like, young thrasher friends.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, it could... Baby's first step into metal, I guess.
Well, like I said, it's got that...
If you liked emo and you want to get more metal than that, then this is a good direction.
I would say if you liked, like I said, for example, if you liked Beartooth's Aggressive, I think you could like this.
See this, yeah.
And yeah, so if you like metalcore, I would say this is definitely something you could do. But yeah, so in the end, everybody's a critic, including us. Bye-bye. So much sass. I could do this on my own.
Sorry. Maybe I'm angry.